Do you constantly label some foods as a good and others as a bad? I've got a very relatable story to share with you today. And this one will be especially meaningful if you think of your food, your week, or yourself as good and bad. Like when you have good days because you stuck to your plan, or maybe you have bad days because you indulged. Or maybe you step on the scale in the morning and you see a certain number. So you decide that you are actually a good and successful person, or when you see that higher number than you expected. So then you beat yourself up with negative self talk because you're suddenly a bad person because the scale told you so. Maybe you even avoid sugar, flour, and even those simple sugars of bananas, watermelon, pineapple, because they're bad foods, while the boring broccoli, brown rice, and the roasted chicken are good foods. I'm Kristen Tinker, food addiction and weight loss expert. And today we're sorting out this misconception, the notion of good and bad, the dichotomous relationship, and especially what happens when you're bad just because you planned to be good and you got off track. What a mess. It's truly overcomplicated because we have overcomplicated this journey to health, happiness, and weight loss with good and bad labeling. And this creates a whole lot of toxic shame for yourself. That's not good. See, toxic shame carries over to become this internal message of, I'm a good person or I'm a bad person just because of what you ate or maybe because of the day that you had, whether you got off track. The negative self-talk can get highly triggered when you give your power away to food, your actions, the scale, or just your day, all of which is being good or bad. And now you have the recipe for other bad behaviors and thought patterns, like thinking food is scarce, that model of food scarcity, just because your bad foods are about to be off limits. And that can lead to what I call last suppering. You actually know what I mean, even if you haven't heard that term before. Let's say you decide it's time to finally restart a healthy lifestyle. So you pick a date to begin. You've got it all planned out. You know what I mean? You'll work out, you'll eat better, you'll drink more water, go to bed early, and do all those good things. And before the big day gets here, you make sure that you eat all of your favorite foods, those bad foods, because they're about to become scarce. And I'm giggling because I actually know what this feels like. Because you're not going to be allowed to eat those bad foods again once your new good routine kicks in. And you do eat them because, well, yum, right? We've all done that. There's a name for that. It's called last suppering. Now, there are two big reasons why last suppering gets in the way of your results, and it's rooted in food scarcity. First, just on a practical basis, loading up on all of your favorite foods can lead to weight gain, pushing you even farther from your goals before you even get a chance to work on them. But second, and this is probably even more importantly, this kind of good and bad or black and white thinking helps cement an all or nothing attitude towards food. That's when you label some foods as good and others as bad. And it can make it almost impossible to stick with your routine because truly it's not sustainable in the long term to always be sticking to good foods. It causes your brain to start overemphasizing that importance of bad foods as scarce. And it also makes you think that they're necessary for your survival. And then it makes a certain part of your brain, the limbic emotional brain, to crave these foods even more. See, it tricks your brain into all kinds of psychological patterns. And you start to internalize that you are good or bad according to the good or bad foods that you crave. And you feel like you can't do without them. And then subsequently, you eat them. And that allows you to have a good or bad day, only emphasized by the scale the next morning. See, it all relates. Here's an example. What if your favorite food is pizza, because we all love it, and suddenly you, one, can't have pizza, and two, you don't even want to think about pizza because you'll crave it. The first thing you do is immediately start thinking about pizza. Am I right? And then you start craving it. Then you compromise this moderation approach. And I'm just going to eat just one piece of pizza, right? But then you decide you're a bad person because you gave in to your craving. And the high sodium and sugar might cause you to retain water, causing you to weigh more on the scale the next day, making you think you have had a bad day. See how it relates? Bad food causes you to think you are a bad person, a failure, who has good and bad days. Well, that's toxic shame. Now, a better approach is finding a solution, a sustainable solution that works for you long term. And that actually includes having your favorite foods with decisions ahead of time. So nothing is ever completely off limits. And all foods are actually available to you, but on your terms, while you stand in your power. This is key. In other words, you can start being good all the time with positive self-talk, with nothing but good days. It starts by discovering how to take back your power from food, from the scale, and all the other actions we do. If you're ready to kickstart a nothing but good healthy routine on your terms, so you can stop yo-yo dieting for the last time and start losing weight permanently to feel energy, confidence, and happiness, even with stress, even without extra time, just click the link below to see how my permanent weight loss program can help you. I am committed to your success. I hope you are too. I'll see you next time.